Jacking off feels good. Looking at those big butts and boobs that you know you'll never get fills that void in your heart. Masturbation is the only outlet for your virginity. A bitchy white girl will cheat and leave, and next day she'll be fucking with Steve. But you know who I can always believe? It's my hand that strokes my beef. These things are what your dumbass horny brain tells you. But when that post-nut clarity kicks in, you suddenly realize you're surrounded in disgusting cum stains. And that big black cock that's smashing your favorite star is almost, just almost, as dark as your future. But why do you keep doing it? Why do you keep jacking off, knowing that it makes you feel like shit every single time? Why do you keep indulging in these addictions when you know that they're not good for you? It's because your lizard brain is not convinced that it's bad. Your logical, reasonable brain is dead set on improving yourself. However, when that horniness or trigger hits, your lizard brain takes over, and next thing you know, you're lying in a sea of semen, alone and sad. So how do we stop indulging in these addictions? Well, there are two things that we can do. I'm sure that you've heard plenty of people telling you to, level up your discipline, train your willpower, and resist the temptations of your primal brain. Although that's completely correct, which we'll get to that later, it's only one part of what we can do. Ultimate excellence lies not in winning every battle, but in defeating the enemy without ever fighting. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. We can try overpowering the enemy. However, the easier way to do this is to convince the enemy to join our side. I was able to quit fapping long term not because my willpower was able to fight off every thought in my head telling me to fap, but because I convinced my lizard brain that fapping isn't that comfortable after all. You see, every single time I bust a nut, shit goes everywhere, and I have to clean it up. There's also going to be that little bit of white juice that oozes out of your dick post-nut. That is just disgusting, absolutely shameful. It's such a pain in the ass to clean up as well. Like, imagine you're looking at yourself in a third person's point of view when you're jacking off. Like, instead of taking your phone when you're jacking off, take a mirror and just look at yourself, stare at yourself. How shameful is that? Staring at your double chin dumbass face when you're jacking off really shows your lizard brain how shameful and disgusting this action is. I want you to really observe the emotions and actions of doing this addiction. Now, after you finish beating your meat or doing other addictions, I want you to go to your journal and write down every single detail of how you feel. Every disgusting detail, I want you to write it down. There's one common thing about these addictions, and that is they all waste your time. So you can deeply describe how shit you feel, the sadness and pain, after spending hours on this addiction and putting off the work you're supposed to do, and now you're regretting your decisions. Try your best to convince the lizard brain that doing this addiction isn't comfortable at all, as you're simply putting off work for your future self to deal with. However, we can't always fully convince our lizard brain to not bother us. So let me tell you how I fought off my urges, right? So firstly, you have to make one thing really clear before engaging in battle with your lizard brain, and that is you can only resist the temptations of the addiction before indulging in it. In other words, once you've accepted the offer of your lizard brain and start indulging in your addictions, you ain't gonna get out of it soon. So those little voices in your head telling you, oh, it's fine, it's just 30 minutes of video games, or no worries, you don't need to ejaculate, you're just gonna edge and feel the pleasure, it's fine. They are all lies. Do not take the offer. You simply have to observe these thoughts and label them as lies and deceit. And after that, you just have to read that journal entry of you feeling like shit after you indulge in the addiction, or even better, visualize the act of you coming out of your addiction rabbit hole and feeling like shit. It may feel comfortable to do the addiction right now, but you know the truth. You know how shit it is going to feel. Remember, every urge you resist and every addictive thought you fight off, your willpower gets leveled up. It's alright if you fail at first, but you have to put down your ego and admit defeat. Remind yourself, next time, whatever the voices in your head throws at you, you fight as many of them off as possible. Only then you will get stronger, and eventually strong enough to withstand the temptations of addiction, and finally convince your lizard brain to be on your side. Hello, my name is Hexib, and I'm just a 15-year-old sharing my journey of self-improvement to all of you. Share this to a friend who is currently suffering from addiction, and may God be your future self. Peace.